A courtroom in Jacksonville, Florida, 2022. A 23-year-old man stands before a judge. His name is Tyler Jackson.
Damn, Berto, you made another
Bitch. Jay, you did it with this one.
But the streets know him as Y&R Mookey. Behind him, a screen flickers to life. Prosecutors press play. His own music fills the room. His own face fills the screen. And what the jury sees is a young man holding what appears to be a high-powered rifle looking directly into the camera. Unbothered, untouchable, or so he thought. Tyler Jackson turns to the judge. He speaks slowly. Carefully, I am not the person that the state is trying to make me out to be. I'm not a violent person. I'm not no gang member.
A violent criminal background. I'm not no gang member, nor have I ever been a gang member.
Music is my craft. It should not be taken literally.
Which is music. Music is my craft and how I tend to make my livelihood and should not be taken literally.
I'm an entertainer who gives his fans what they want to see and hear.
I am merely an entertainer which gives my fans what they want to see and hear.
The judge listens. Then she sentences him to 10 years in prison.
But I'm not going to put you in prison for 20 years. I'm going to put you in prison for 10.
But here's what nobody asked that day in court. How did Tyler Jackson, a kid from a block on Jacksonville's Northside, end up here? How did a rap crew that most people outside Jacksonville barely heard of become central to one of the most documented gang conflicts in American street history? To answer that, we have to go back. Back before the courtroom. Back before the music went viral. Back to a city and a crew and a war that most people only tell half of. This is the story of Y&R. When people talk about Jacksonville's rap war, they almost always tell it the same way. Two sides, two rappers, two sets of grief stretching across years of bloodshed. Ack on the west side, led by Yungeen Ace. KTA on the north side, led by Julio Foolio. That's the story that made national headlines. That's the story that ended in a Tampa hotel parking lot on a birthday night in June 2024. But that story is missing something. There was a third force operating inside this war. Not on the sideline, right in the middle. A crew the streets respected, that law enforcement hunted, that the internet briefly made famous and then quietly forgot. Their name was Y&R, Young and Ruthless. And if you want to truly understand what Jacksonville became between 2018 and 2022, you need to understand them. Chapter 1, the city before Y&R mattered. Jacksonville, Florida is one of the largest cities by landmass in the continental United States. Sprawling, disconnected, a city of invisible borders. The north side anchored by the 45th Street corridor, the Moncrief housing developments. And pockets like Arlington and A Block has been one of the most underserved areas in Duval County for generations. High poverty, limited opportunity. And by the mid-2010s, a street culture beginning to document itself through a new medium, rap music. By 2015, Jacksonville had its own underground scene, rough, real, almost entirely invisible to the rest of the country. This new wave wasn't trying to get signed, it was documentation, raw, unfiltered, and increasingly dangerous. On the west side, Keonta Bullard, who the world would come to know as Yungeen Ace. His set would become Mock, Ace's top killers. On the Moncrief corridor, Charles Jones II, who the streets call Foolio, and his 6-block set, eventually uniting under the car banner. Kill them all. But the Y&R story doesn't start with either of those names. It starts on A Block, with a kid who could rap in a way nobody in Jacksonville had quite heard before. That is where Young and Ruthless was born. Chapter 2, Young A&D Ruthless, who they were Y&R, Young and Ruthless. Not a single block set a crew that drew from multiple Northside pockets, connecting Arlington, A Block, and the broader 45th Street world under one brand. And that brand had a sound unlike anything else coming out of Jacksonville. Tyler Jackson Y&R Mookey was its architect. Born and raised in Arlington, Mookey possessed something rare in late 2010s drill: the ability to make pain sound melodic. Where most Jacksonville artists were wall-to-wall aggression, Mookey could shift mid-song from punishing to mournful, from menacing to grieving. He called it what it was: pain rap. He debuted in 2018 with a mixtape called Russian Roulette. The title alone told you his mindset. Standing beside him was Tyler Simmons, Y&R Slugga T. Fast-paced, percussive, relentless. Together they developed the Murder Twins format: back-to-back verses, shared narratives. A two-headed machine that felt less like a collaboration and more like a single organism. Their joint record, Murder Twins, would accumulate over 4.5 million YouTube views. But by the time that song dropped, one of them was already under arrest. And then there was the third name, the one that would eventually complicate everything. Nehemiah Lamar Harden, born October 19, 2001, known to the world as SpotemGottem. In the beginning, he was just another Y&R affiliate, a young rapper from the same Northside world as Mookey and Slugga T. He was building, he was Y&R, and then on April 20, 2020, he released a song called Beatbox. Nobody could have predicted what came next. Chapter 3, The Alliance's A&D, the personal beef. Y&R was a foundational component of the KTA coalition. Not a side act, a load-bearing piece. Mookey and Slugga T were aligned with Foolio and 6 Block territorially, ideologically, and on the same digital battlefield. SpotemGottem was also part of this alignment during his time in the crew. But Y&R's beef with ATK was not simply inherited from Foolio. It was personal. Street accounts describe a specific incident that defined the direct animosity between Y&R and Yungeen Ace's side. A party, both crews present. An altercation broke out. Tensions found a flashpoint. And then, according to what circulated through Jacksonville's street community, Yungeen Ace returned to the scene armed and fired, not at an empty corner, near Y&R Mookey's own mother. That detail transforms a territorial conflict into something entirely different. It becomes personal in a way that no peace agreement can easily undo. From that moment, Y&R's war with ATK carried a weight beyond geography. Mookey documented it publicly, addressing the incident in his music, taunting Ace over losses on his side, making clear that Y&R had entered this war fully and with no intention of stepping back. Chapter 4 and 5, the music, the Instagram, the trap being set between 2018 and 2019. The Jacksonville conflict was reaching a frequency of violence that was becoming impossible to track. Ace survived the June 2018 Town Center Parkway ambush, shot 8 times, 3 of his people killed. Out of the hospital in under 24 hours. Cutter was absorbing losses too. Lil Buck killed in January 2019. Foolio's 16-year-old brother Bibby murdered in February 2019. Y&R felt every one of those losses. They were the same coalition, the same streets. And as each loss landed, Mookey pushed further into the conflict publicly, visibly, on camera. His 2019 mixtape Big Murder contained Dead Ops, a record that earned millions of streams by making grief and menace sound melodic at the same time. Songs like Gangsta Talk went further, explicitly referencing the scoreboard of a war that had no referee. Y&R pioneered something that became a Jacksonville hallmark: hyper-specific geographic documentation and music visuals. They shot on real corners, in real buildings, on blocks any Northside resident could identify. It was territorial assertion expressed through art. In a courtroom, it reads as something else entirely. And while Y&R was building this catalog, someone was watching. Quietly, carefully, for months. Jacksonville law enforcement didn't need to come looking. Y&R had built them a roadmap. Chapter 6, Operation Wrap Up A&D The Fracture from Within. January 2019. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office holds a press conference alongside Mayor Lenny Curry and State Attorney Melissa Nelson. The operation has a name, Operation Wrap Up. Sheriff Mike Williams addresses the cameras. These videos typically glorify drug use. They celebrate violence and are often used to intimidate or threaten rival groups or gangs. 6 men arrested, 3 more named as wanted. The majority, Y&R members, all charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Among them, Tyler Jackson, Tyler Simmons, Mookey, and Slugga T. But here's the detail that should stop you cold. Law enforcement never physically recovered a weapon from Mookey. They never watched him hold a gun in person. They never found one in his home. What they had was a music video. A video in which Mookey appeared to hold an AK-style rifle on a Jacksonville corner. Shot on YouTube, watched by millions, including apparently the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. That video became their primary evidence, and it worked. But before the courtroom, something happened inside Y&R that was, in many ways, more damaging than any arrest. SpotemGottem was rising. Beatbox dropped April 2020. By December, a remix featuring Pooh Shiesty had ignited the Junebug Challenge on TikTok. The song peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Baby remixed it. Polo G remixed it. A kid from Y&R's Northside orbit was suddenly on Geffen Records and Interscope. While Mookey and Slugga T sat in the system, SpotemGottem was on red carpets. Then a document surfaced online. A police report allegedly from the night of the 2019 arrest began circulating on social media. According to the document, SpotemGottem had given law enforcement a detailed account of that night, placing the firearm squarely on Mookey. The document suggested he went free while his brother stayed locked up. The person who posted it publicly was Spinner Benz, an ATK affiliate, who weaponized it to destroy SpotemGottem on 2 fronts simultaneously after hearing him diss a deceased ATK member. The fallout was immediate. Y&R turned on SpotemGottem. Mookey initially defended him from prison, then a later recorded call told a different story. SpotemGottem went to Miami radio. He denied everything. The streets weren't convinced. He went from Jacksonville's biggest breakout to a man with enemies on every side. In October 2021, he was shot multiple times on I-95 in Miami, both legs. He was also arrested in a Florida hotel room next to a high-powered weapon while out on bond for a separate charge. He had outrun the neighborhood, but the neighborhood had outrun him. Chapter 7, the trial, a legal landmark in a Jacksonville courtroom, February 2022. 3 years after the arrests. The trial begins. Prosecutors have no physical weapon. No officer who witnessed Mookey holding a firearm in real life. No forensic evidence. What they have is a music video titled Murder One. They play it during closing arguments. The jury watches Mookey on screen holding what appears to be an AK-style rifle on a Jacksonville corner. Then prosecutors take it further, introducing the ATK versus KTA conflict in the evidence. His gang ties, his Instagram posts, his documented rivalries. Their argument, a man actively in a street war would not carry a fake weapon in a music video. The war itself becomes evidence that the gun is real. The jury deliberates 3 hours. Guilty, Slugga T is convicted the same month, same charge. April 12, 2022, sentencing. Tyler Jackson stands before Judge Meredith Charbula. He calls himself an entertainer. He says the music should not be taken literally. He says he is not a violent person. The judge describes him as a threat to the community. She sentences him to 10 years. Slugga T receives 7. What happened in that Jacksonville courtroom rap videos as the primary prosecution tool. A street conflict used to authenticate a weapons charge would not remain a Florida story. Within months, the world was watching Georgia prosecutors attempt the same against Young Thug and Gunna in a sweeping RICO case. Legal scholars cited Mookey's conviction. Florida prosecutors cited it as a model. A kid from A Block had, without knowing it, helped set a precedent that would reshape how American courts treated hip-hop for years to come. Ending what happened to them all, Tyler Jackson Yungeen Mookey is serving 10 years. His music still streams. Dead Ops, Murder Twins, Gangsta Talk. Songs recorded on Jacksonville corners now circulate in playlists and documentaries and comment sections where people from the 904 still debate who was really the hardest out of the city. His case is cited in academic papers on the criminalization of rap. He is still in there. Tyler Simmons Yungeen Slugga T is serving 7 years, still incarcerated as of 2026, still referenced, still streamed. SpotemGottem had the strangest arc of all. Jacksonville's Northside to TikTok viral to Billboard Hot 100 to being shot on I-95 to being cut off by his own crew to being a cautionary tale. His active recording career effectively ended by 2023. He was 21 years old. Julio Foolio was ambushed and killed in a Tampa hotel parking lot on June 23, 2024, his 26th birthday. More than 30 shots. He never made it to 27. Kasol was convicted of first-degree murder in 2025 for the killings of Lil Buck and Bibby. Mandatory life sentence. His father testified against him. The war is quieter now. Not because peace was made, but because attrition, incarceration, and the unavoidable mathematics of violence eventually reduce a war to its aftermath. Tyler Jackson stood before a judge and said his music should not be taken literally. He was right, in the sense that art is never the same as action. He was wrong, in the sense that in 2022 Jacksonville, Florida, it didn't matter, because the music had been taken literally, and the jury believed it. Y&R made their mark on Jacksonville, on the sound of the city, on the shape of its conflict, on the legal history of this country. They just didn't get to be free while the world was catching up to them. That's the part nobody talks about.